All right, welcome back to the show, everybody, and welcome to the show. One of our favorites, FSN's very own Francis Williams. Saw some basketball these last couple of weeks, last couple of months. You've seen everybody on our All-State list. I want you to start out by talking about who didn't make the list. We only had room for 10 guys. There were certainly more deserving players.
Every year there's always room for debate as to who should be on this list. But I think this year we had a number of guys that got Division I scholarships, so there was just so many of them that all of them were not going to be able to make a list of 10. But I think Michael Russo at Eastlake, at the end of the year, he may have been the player that was playing the best basketball in the state. I mean, he got his Eastlake team to state. He had a run from the end of the season going into the state tournament where he had 6 consecutive games of 20-plus points and 10-plus rebounds. So he was really on a roll. Tanner Riley from Mount Si is another kid that deserved consideration. They didn't make it to the state tournament, but he had a great year. And Ryan Nicholas from over Gonzaga Prep, another good one that's heading down to the University of Portland.
So let's start with our Fab Five, our starting lineup. I know you've got some impressions about these guys. What a legacy Dickerson, Smith, Umapig, Bright, Gage have left on their programs and on the state.
Yeah, well, I think that's a very good list. I mean, if you look at that list, all of them Division I scholarship guys. Dickerson at Federal Way, they came up a little bit short and finished 3rd in the state this year after winning the whole thing last year. But he had an outstanding year. He was MVP of the SBSL North 4A division. He was Star Times. Josh Smith got healthy at the right time and really just put the rest of that team on his back. Although the guys surrounding him, I thought, played very well also. But he got healthy at the right time and was just dominant in the state tournament.
Really started playing defense.
Yeah, and really got them over the hump. So they really weren't challenged. And I think that really says a lot about him as he heads to UCLA. Isaiah Umapig, another kid from Federal Way. They came up a little bit short, but man, did he hit some big shots in day 1 and day 2 to get Federal Way to that semifinal game. And he had an outstanding career. Aaron Bright at Bellevue, heading to Stanford, 2-time MVP of the 3A KingCo. So, another good kid on the list. And then lastly, John Gage of the First Five from Vashon. They won the state championship as a junior. I think at the next level, Stanford will probably redshirt him earlier, but he can really shoot the basketball. And I think as he gets bigger and stronger and is able to deal with the physicality of playing in the Pac-10, has a chance to be a pretty good player.
What about the second five? Our second unit, Andre Winston Jr., Will DiOrio, surprised a lot of people this year. A couple of small school kids in Harris. And, of course, Mr. Simon from Ephrata. Good group in that second group that could have been on the starting team.
Well, a very good group. I'll start with Andre Winston Jr. I think his rare accomplishment of being the 3A state tournament MVP on a team that didn't win the state championship, that rarely happens. I really can't think of a time previously when that has happened. But he had a great 3A state tournament. Will DiOrio over at Bainbridge, the MVP of the Metro League. The Metro League was down a little bit this year, but he was clearly the best player in the league, averaged about 18 points a game. Another kid that kind of flew under the radar, Patrick Simon over at Ephrata. I mean, this kid, we've been hearing about him since he was, 12 or 13 years old.
I think you told me he committed in 8th or 9th grade, right?
He committed to Wazoo as a 9th grader.
Right.
Had an outstanding career over at Ephrata. Finished up his high school career with a 48-point game in the state tournament. They came up a little bit short, but outstanding career there. They were the state champs in 2008. We have Riley Carroll from Enumclaw. I thought he was a guy that at 6'2", I was always amazed at how many rebounds he would end up with within the course of a game. You'd look up, he'd have 12, 13, 14 rebounds as a guard at 6'2". He led that Enumclaw team all season long. They came up 9 seconds short of running the table and winning the state championship. But Riley Carroll definitely was the leader of that team. And then Harris from over at Chelan. An East Side kid, so we really didn't get a chance to see Joey Harris play a whole lot. But they're saying that he's one of the best players that have ever played in the league over there. 25 points a game, 6 or 7 rebounds, 6 or 7 assists, 3 or 4 steals. Just an outstanding player. Going to University of Virginia, he's going to follow Tony Bennett, who saw him when he was at Washington State and decided to go ahead to recruit and play in the ACC at Virginia. But an outstanding player, and he rounds out our top 10.
All right, there you go. That's our starting and our second unit on our All-State team. So we left it hanging there as to who our TVN Player of the Year is, and I'll let you make that announcement. Is there any doubt about it?
I don't think there's any doubt. Go ahead.
All right, 6'9", Josh Smith of Kentwood High School. Comes back from an injury in midseason, takes his team all the way to the tournament, cashes in. Really no contest in the tournament. Kentwood wins it going away. Josh Smith does the Spencer Haas routine. Couldn't get to the state tournament his sophomore and junior years, even though he had a lot of talent, but does it as a senior. Josh Smith goes out as the big guy. And as far as the girls' side of things, No doubt about this one. Mercedes Wetmore, the Gatorade State Player of the Year, our Player of the Year. She leads her team back to the state championship game as a 4A school. That's 3 out of 4 years taking home the title. I know that's a balanced team. You like somebody on the eastern side of the state, huh?
Well, I really like Jasmine Redmond. It was a great matchup between those two in the state title game, and the game just went right down to the wire. But I thought Jasmine Redmond, all of the little things that she was able to do to make everybody around her better, and I really loved her on-the-ball defense, and I think that's going to make her real effective at the next level. 3
of those girls on the All-State team coming back next year, so just like on the boys' side, the talent pool is very deep. But I want to talk about boys next year because the well is full. We've got a lot of great guys, including one Tony Roten Jr., who threatened to come back this year. Think he's going to be better than ever next year?
Well, first of all, let's hope he's healthy. First and foremost, he has to get healthy, recovering from that ACL injury that he had. But everybody says that he's looking good. He's been training and doing his physical therapy, and he's looking pretty good. So let's hope that he does, because he is an outstanding talent. I think Gary Bell, what an outstanding season Gary Bell had out at Kent Ridge. And you just hope that he's able to maybe get to the tournament as he did as a sophomore and get a chance to really show the ability that he has. Brett Kingma, we saw him in the state tournament. Outstanding. I mean, it's really exciting to watch. Statistically, he maybe wasn't great, but I mean, the things that he does for that team and the way he can shoot the basketball, and he's crafty and he just has a real nice feel for the game. He's a guy that next year at this time, he'll be amongst this 10. I don't think there's any question about that. And a couple youngsters we want to keep our eye on. Rio Adams at Franklin, young talent, he's only a sophomore, so he'll be a junior next year. Keep your eye on him. And DJ Fenner at Seattle Prep, just a freshman. If that Fenner name sounds familiar, yes, his dad played in the NFL, played for the Seahawks, Derek Fenner. This kid is a freshman, and he is an outstanding talent. So remember those two names, Adams and Fenner, of the guys coming up behind him.